Zebec has been talking about another reminder, which is actually what they even posted not too long ago. Nothing I say is financial advice, but did you know that Zebec recently talked about, again, how USD1 payroll is live on the Zebec Super App? Now, that's the reminder they made basically, because we already know that happened, but they're just talking about it again. So I see what you did there, Zebec, trying to remind people about things you've already done in the past. But still, I'm not going to complain because I am a fan. And I think this is actually a great moment for me to kind of talk about just the scale of something like this. Because if we take a look at USD1, for instance, of course, we already know it's World Liberty stablecoin. But besides that, that is currently ranked as of right now 21st in the world in terms of market cap within this space. Which means that what is a project that is ranked higher than it? It's XLM. XLM is currently ranked 20th. USD1 is 21st in the world, again, within this space in terms of market cap. So what that means is that USD1 currently has a bigger market cap than Litecoin, than HBAR, and even Shiba Inu, which may sound a little bit bizarre because, of course, Shiba Inu is very popular, but I'm saying still, that is apparently the case. So I think this showcases, if anything to me, that again, seeing USD1 on the Zebec Super App is not necessarily such a bad thing overall. Keep in mind, ZBCN is nowhere to be found in the top 100, by the way. That is apparently the case because it's not that massive in terms of market cap. So if they could have a partnership with something that is in the top 100, which World Liberty and as well as USD1 are both in the top 100, just think it's pretty cool nonetheless. Now, people like to tell me, well, this project in the past 24 hours recovered 10%. This other one did 15% or whatever. Why, when it comes to ZBCN, the movement has only been around 3% in the past 24 hours? Well, here's the thing. Projects move at different paces, in my opinion, and I have no control over that. Furthermore, the market has just recently slightly started to recover, so it's not like we've seen a prolonged recovery yet. We'll wait and see. But I think this is also another chance for me to kind of talk about a little bit of the history when it comes to ZBCN. Because remember, back in January of 2025, what did we see absolutely just go on a rally? And that's Zebec's closest competitor, which is Onyx, or otherwise known as XCN. That absolutely went on a massive rally in January of 2025. But what was ZBCN doing in January of 2025? Nothing really. It's crickets. Basically crickets, in my opinion. Nothing really happened. But when did it really do its thing? It did its thing a couple months later in May of 2025. So even a project that is in the same niche and even its closest competitor, it moved at different rates. It moved at a different time, I would say. So let alone another project that's totally unrelated to Zebec in any way, shape, or form, or not even in the same niche. Of course, they're going to have different moments to kind of do their thing. So as of right now, if another project recovered 10%, another one recovered 15%, if ZBCN's only like 3%, it's like, okay, so be it. I'm not in here for the short term anyways. I'm still waiting. It's not like I'm trying to leave in a week or whatever. No, that's not the case. Even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I'm saying still, when it comes to Zebec overall, I just have no complaints because even if I take a look at it, in the past 30 days, the recovery has been almost 30%. So is it like really that bad? Some other projects out there haven't done anything in the past 30 days, which I get it is still pretty kind of negligible in the grand scheme of things, considering how much things have had a pullback ever since 2024 and 2025. I'm totally aware of that. But at the same time, still, I'm not going to complain if a project that I'm a fan of had around a 30% recovery in the past 30 days, which ZBCN almost, again, had a 30% recovery in the past 30 days. So I have no complaints there. Furthermore, in the past week alone, ZBCN's recovery has been almost 8%. So yeah, pretty impressive in my opinion. Again, in the past 24 hours, though, only around like 3%. But tomato, tomato. I'm still in here for the long haul anyways. And in my opinion, if I just take a look at the core principle of the super app, it's not like when I first believed in it, the super app wasn't even a thing. Like, I didn't even know what it was when I first believed in Zebec. I didn't hear a lot of people talking about that. But of course, the super app came into fruition later on. And it actually came into fruition this year. So when I take a look at that right there, I think Zebec has fundamentally improved ever since when I first started to believe in it. So it was actually harder for me to care about it back then because back in late 2024, what was really something that I could point to and say, oh, Zebec did that. That was so amazing? Nothing really. I mean, sure, Zebec had very impressive backers, but it didn't really do anything when it comes to the fundamentals. Like, of course, we already know, like, Solana Ventures is a backer when it comes to Zebec, something like Circle, the creator of USDC. We already know that, but at a certain point in time, there was really nothing I could point to and say, oh, that was amazing fundamentally when it comes to Zebec. Not really. I mean, when I first believed in Zebec, there was no such thing as ISO 20022 compliance when it comes to Zebec at that time. Furthermore, also, I take a look at there was no super app. They didn't have the recently announced Stellar partnership. They didn't have any of that back then. So if Zebec was at a way lower market cap back then, way less popularity, and I was still even believing in that, let alone right now when it's already actually kind of showcased at least something in 2025, and also furthermore with the increase in partnerships, again, I just don't see a reason why I would be like, oh, Zebec became worse. No, I don't agree with that. I think if anything, ever since I started holding it, I think it became better. Not in terms of the charts just solely, even though that is actually also the case, because if I take a look at it, when I first believed in ZBCN, market cap was below 100 million. Now, of course, ZBCN market cap is over 200 million. So it's actually done pretty good ever since I started talking about it. However, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, I think most importantly, though, the fundamentals did improve a lot more. And that's what I often care about because other projects out there, they just don't really care about the fundamentals. And I think sometimes it's a little bit counterintuitive because why? I mean, sometimes they have the resources, they have the energy, they have the time, but they don't want to do anything. And I think sometimes it boils down to laziness. I think some projects out there, they're just a little bit lazy. Like they just don't want to do anything, which to each their own. I can't control anyone. I can only control myself. But I just think it's a little bit counterintuitive because attention, hype, sort of cool factor, riding off that alone, there is sometimes an expiry date, in my opinion. Like that can only go on for so long. When it comes to Zebec, because it's focused on global trade and finance, it's a more evergreen sort of market. There's a little bit more longevity, in my opinion, when it comes to that. So other projects out there that initially had their attention, had their time, so to speak, because of the hype and cool factor, that's awesome, but they have to build on that, right? They have to actually do something. If they don't, eventually they're going to get forgotten about. So I think it's a little bit counterintuitive in some other cases, but I just don't see it here because when it comes to the super app, I mean, I didn't see much people asking for it or about it, or a lot of people just didn't even think about that concept to begin with. So it's something they did like just out of wanting to improve, which I find very impressive actually. It's like they didn't necessarily have to do it, but they did it anyways. So I do like seeing that. And also furthermore, when I take a look at Zebec, if they never had a partnership with Stellar, would anyone really care? I mean, even before they had the partnership when it comes to Stellar, Zebec was already doing pretty okay, at least at certain points in 2025. The Stellar partnership was just a cherry on top, which made me really happy. So they're doing these type of things that a lot of people didn't really kind of want them to do or even thought about them doing in the first place. So I kind of like the effort when it comes to Zebec. And of course, I do really care about a Stellar partnership, but that wasn't something I expected initially when I first held ZBCN for the first time. So overall, again, I do like what I'm seeing when it comes to Zebec. As of right now, you already know I'm still waiting, right? That's all I can do, but I'm in this for the long haul anyways. I want to treat this like a long-term thing because I feel like that was my initial intent anyways. When I first held ZBCN, I didn't know it was going to do what it did in 2025. Of course, I believed in it, but that was just really awesome that it did do that. So what is it going to do maybe this year in 2027, 2028, and so on? We'll wait and see. But one thing I do know, though, is that I'm still going to be holding because I want to see what happens. I'm a little bit curious. That's my mindset as of right now. So when I take a look at something like Zebec, I get it. The recovery hasn't been the best in the past 24 hours, but I don't view this in a 24-hour mindset. I view this in a maybe hypothetically years mindset. So I'm willing to wait, but I am still waiting. And I do like the frequency actually in which Zebec updates, in which they actually talk about the news, because that can't really be said for a bunch of other projects out there. Other projects out there, maybe they update once every month, and that's already considered like really good in some cases. Some others do it once every 2 months or 3 months or whatever. I mean, some projects out there with a pretty big market cap, they haven't updated in months. So bizarre, right? Considering how some of these projects have like over 100,000 holders, over 50,000 holders, and they just don't care, it seems like. Yeah, that's a little bit bizarre to me, but when I take a look at Zebec, it feels like they update very constantly. So I do like that from them. I do appreciate that because it does give an insight to what they're doing to the community. So I do like that. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why ZBCN has seen an increase in holders as of late, because again, ZBCN recently surpassing 100,000 holders. I think that, if anything, showcases that some people may appreciate the frequency in which Zebec updates. But yeah, that's just something pretty awesome that I noticed. So I want to say thank you for watching. I'll be sure to make more updates, and I hope you all have a very nice day. I'm out. Peace. Bye.